Asteroid of fear.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Men of the House podcast. And it is Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there, including my mom and my wife. Love y'all both. So, Richard, why this Mother's Day special? Well, why not? Partially because I missed Friday. Um, yeah, and I don't have a guest lined up for Monday. So, in lieu, I decided on let's do a little Mother's Day episode. We'll kind of in between cover Friday and Monday. Appreciate you guys for understanding. But yeah, life has kind of been that way lately. It's been kind of hectic, and I am trying to get through the month of May so we can move on to kind of a regularly scheduled programming, if you will. Some more interviews, and of course, unfiltered Fridays. Um, yeah, so I am excited. I think I told you guys before, my daughter has a laundry list of events happening in May as she transitions from elementary to junior high. And it's the end of the year. So my schedule is jam packed between that and taking my dad to doctor's appointments. And then one of the gentlemen we care for is getting ready to move out of his current living quarters. He lives in the same units as my father. He does dialysis 3 times a week, and he's been in and out of the hospital with lots of challenges. Recently, a broken leg. He is unambulatory, bound to a wheelchair, but he has found a place out in the country where he can have his dog. They have a nurse on staff. They'll take him to dialysis, and it's a little more peaceful, and uh, it'll be good for him. It's kind of like an assisted living, but a little more private, kind of out in the country, if you will. Yeah, so we're going to be packing him up, I think, this next week and getting him out, I want to say. And then, of course, he's the gentleman that I bought his car because he can't drive. He's in a wheelchair. And he just said, if you pay it off, it's yours. And we did. And it turned out to be a good deal with some low mileage. And I have to go register that this week so I can, add the insurance and start Ubering because school's about to be out and it's going to be time to learn while I earn, which is why Ubering is one of my favorite things to do. Yeah, I get to run around, listen to podcasts, books on tape. Tape. How funny is that? If there's any people after Gen X, whatever you guys are, Y, Z, A, do you know what tape is? And I don't mean the shit you do to Christmas presents or duct tape, like tape, cassette tape. Yeah. So I think that was just kind of a saying. I digress. We went a little off the rails there. Grab a drink here. Okay, so again, I actually recorded an Unfiltered Friday and decided not to release it because I just didn't like it. I had some problems. Um, you guys know about my lighting issues. So I got a new light the other day and fucking went to set it up. And one of the screws or bolts were stripped on the telescoping part, therefore making it inoperable. Yeah. So that was my recording session yesterday. So I set up my table, motion sensing table stand thingy thing, but it has less light. Oh, speaking of light, let there be light. Boom! For all the watchers. My little candle in the corner candle. So yeah, so I recorded and I don't know. I just maybe it was my flow of consciousness. There was just a lot of disjointedness in it. And I was kind of rushing because I was going to have to go pick up my daughter from school. And I was like, well, if I have time to do it now, then maybe I can upload it when I come home. And I was like, I'm not happy with it. I'll re record it. And by the time I got home, I'm trying to think yesterday, because it's actually Saturday when I'm recording this, even though you're hearing it on Sunday. Um, oh, yeah, I picked up my daughter and had to go exchange the ring light. That's what I had to do. And it's Mother's Day weekend. So we were grabbing a few items and I got home late. And my wife was like, hey, I found this movie. And yeah, so instead of re recording the episode, I chose to spend time with my wife and watch a movie, which it's been a while. I mean, there's times where I might like come in and we'll be watching TV together, but this was kind of like, hey, you want to watch a movie? Yes. So that's what I did instead of re recording. And without a guest Monday, I was like, I think Mother's Day, a Sunday episode, cover them both, get it out, and kind of start getting back on track, wiggling our way back into a little bit of normalcy, some sort of pattern, a little bit of routine, if you will. But yeah, next week's going to be busy with packing, moving. I have to go far away to the county tax office, register the vehicle, get all that set up with Uber. And pretty soon school's going to be out and we'll be headed out of town for our daughter's 21st birthday. And yeah, tons of stuff on the horizon. But anyway, let's talk about the week. What happened this week? Well, one of the first things that happened that's kind of notable is we had a tornado, and it was the first time I've been scared for my life in a while. I can only actually think of about two other times that I really honestly thought like this might be it. Um, this didn't get that close, sort of, after the fact, if you will, because that's kind of how tornadoes are. You don't really know till after. So I don't know what day of the week it was here in Texas, but we're getting rain. They're talking about bad weather, and I'm at home. It's just me and Sugar. Everybody's out of the house, including my mother, who had to go into the office as she normally works from home. But we, it was Sugar and I. My wife called. She's like, hey, we got some bad weather coming. They say, like, there's tornadoes and it's supposed to be coming through. We call it the four-way stop. There's a little town. Um, and if you don't know where I'm from, I'm not going to tell you. So uh, keep a few things private. But she's like, yeah, it's supposed to be headed this way and coming through, like, kind of where I live. It was like if there's an Oreo, you got the cookies and you got the cream. So they mentioned the cookies. Hey, the tornado's going to pass through here, which means the cream's probably going to get it. And I'm talking to my wife. I got the news on. It's 1:30. It's like, hey, this is going to be here at 1:45. and talking to my wife, watching the news. All of a sudden, the power goes out. Okay, no more news. Well, then my phone call drops to my wife. Well, instead of calling her back and, you know, making small talk before being demolished by a tornado, I figured, okay, I will uh, search the news, went on to the interwebs, hit up the news station where it was doing, little live streaming usually during bad weather. So hit that up. And as I was doing that, I'm like, okay, I got a little man bag, a little man purse, satchel thing that people carry these days. And, you know, it's got it's got a few items in there of necessity, but I rolled around the house, grabbed like an extra charger, grabbed my medication, my daughter's medication, everyone but my wife's. Sorry. And this comes out on Mother's Day. I feel so guilty. But yeah, I grabbed medication, a few things. I already had a hoodie on because it was kind of chilly, but I put my raincoat on just in case I had to make a mad dash or a tornado was going to roll through and rip the roof off. Said, might as well be dressed for the occasion. And so, yeah, I gathered everything up and Sugar and I hopped in the shower because the shower is in our bathroom is the innermost non-windowed place, and it is a like a handicap shower, meaning like walk in, step in, but it's a large plastic, hard plastic type material shell that kind of gets inserted, and meaning it's tall. And I was like, well, if the roof got ripped off or there was debris, maybe if you're watching, you could see it would just fall and be stuck because I was in the bottom of the shower. So, had some space in between us in case something collapsed or fell on us. And it was kind of nerve wracking because, you know, then phone service went out. I could no longer stream the weather. I could no longer tell whether or not where this tornado was. So I'm stuck there in the dark, literally. I have like a little hanging light hanging from the shower bar. We got me and Sugar in the shower. It's kind of quiet, minus wind and rain. Phone's on SOS mode. I cannot tell anything. It's 11:11. Let's make a wish. Moment of silence for the wish. All right. But, it was like I had this moment. This, it's just me all alone out here in the middle of the country, tornadoes ripping through. I'm happy that my wife and daughter are away, safe. Mom's away, safe. Dad's away, safe. And I just had this thought. I'm like, this is about the perfect conditions for a last day, if you will. Um, no, I don't want it to be the last day. But should it be, then you kind of got to make peace with it. Say a little prayer and just kind of wait, not knowing what to expect. And part of this thought process comes from, I don't know if you guys have seen that. It's kind of a documentary on Netflix about a tornado, about people who were actually in one. And they talked about, I guess, going in this convenience store, huddling down in the cooler, and how it ripped everything from around them. And they were like, just stay low, stay huddled together. And, one guy was thrown from a vehicle. It picked up the vehicle and I believe threw him out. And yeah, thinking of that documentary and kind of the situation and circumstances that were surrounding me at the moment, it was an eerie feeling to go, hey, could happen You don't have any control over Mother Nature. Um, yeah, I was scared. First time in a while. Hey guys, quick break. But this one's important. If you're tired of setting goals that never leave the Notes app, or you're feeling stuck in the same cycle, let's change that. Accountability isn't about pressure, it's about partnership. I offer one on one accountability coaching for those who are ready to show up, not just for their goals, but for themselves, their families, and their purpose. Whether you're working on discipline, building better habits, or simply trying to stay consistent, I got you. No fluff, no judgment, just real conversations and real progress. If that sounds like something you need, hit the link in the show notes and let's connect. All right, back to the episode. Kind of had to make a little bit of peace, but thank goodness, um, nothing happened. It did actually go through one of the cookie towns I described on the Oreo. So they had a little bit of cleanup they had to do, but we got totally missed. And I think, in terms of the town in general, um, the extent of injuries was tree falling and somebody hurt their ankle, I believe. So, yeah, blessings all around. Yeah, that was the scariest moment of the week, the highlight of the week. Because then at some point, I still had to go get my daughter that day. And after about 20 minutes, about 2:05, 2:10, I packed up sugar and said, let's go. We're going to go to town, go get Sophie. And since there's no power, might as well take the dog. And it was still raining and thundering and crappy out. Anywho. But what else did I have this week? Heard some interesting things listening to podcasts. Like, if you don't need to know everything to do anything. And one of my coaching clients talked about that with him this week. I think it was a relative point of, oftentimes we get analysis paralysis. We're, when's the perfect time to do this, and or pull the trigger, and sometimes you just got to take messy action. You'll gain the experience as you go. Yeah, because that was the other part. They kind of tie together. And that was kind of how much experience can count for, is like, just get going. You'll gain experience. Um, what there used to be this thing. I'm a Gen X, and so there was always this thing about education and experience. It was like, well, how am I supposed to get the experience if you don't give me the opportunity? Um, and education was kind of important, and there was like this dichotomy of which is more important, the education or the experience. And then people would have this, when you get hired for certain things, there's certain thresholds, like for management. Um, where I was a manager, it was supposed to be like a bachelor's degree, or, you know, real companies have, usually it's a master's degree, is that level. That's the entry, the barrier. Um, but oftentimes when they want to cut costs, do things like that, they kind of push that shit to the wayside. Like my boss, who was probably supposed to have a master's, I don't even think she had, maybe high school. So, I mean, she had 20 years experience, and that is important for sure. And I have no problem with that, actually. I have a problem with the companies that uh, go back on their standards, I guess you could say. It's kind of lower their standards. It's like the military. You hear a lot about that, like with Navy SEALs and different discussions going on. The podcasts I listen to is, they lowered the standards for a long time. And what happens when you lower the standards? Well, people kind of turn into shitbags, if you will. You can tell what's important when you lower the standard. Yeah, yeah, obviously. We just want shittier stuff. Mm-hmm. I don't care if you're a healthcare organization, a SEAL team, or a restaurant. When you lower the standard, you're just saying, I'm okay with less. Less performance, less output, less quality. Yeah. But this whole thing was kind of around experience counts for a lot nowadays. I mean, fast forward to where we are, and everybody has a damn computer in their hand and access the information. Like Andy Stump would say, one of the problems is you have the broad spectrum of IQs, but everybody has the same access to the information. Not everybody knows what to do with it or how to interpret it. Yeah, you get gullible people who believe stupid shit. So, in a similar manner, you know, we have instant access to so much information. This is not where, you know, during my first college in the early 2000s, my bachelor's, you're talking about still having to go to the library and research to write a paper. Can't just look up everything on the internet. I mean, it was a tool, but, I grew up in the encyclopedia. That I'm that age. Yeah. So, in a time where information is readily available and can be accessed quickly, this is where experience comes in. Why experience is important. Um, especially in if it's a high stakes, high risk, fast environment. Like, let's say an emergency. If I see an emergency on the side of the road happen, I'm probably not going to panic because I worked in a level one trauma center for 6 years. I'm very familiar with trauma and chaos. Some people are not, but it's that experience that can allow me to create the space I need to think and operate in the best way possible. Where, with the lack of experience, you might have somebody who freezes or panics and then nothing gets done. And that's just one example. But, you know, get out there and experience things. That's how you gain it. There's no other way. Sometimes that requires taking messy action, just doing it, just trying it, trying things out. That's how I got here. End of July. Gonna be 2 years at the podcast. I mean, this is episode 126, I believe. Yeah. I'm trying to think. I think there was another throwaway episode a couple weeks ago that I didn't like. Maybe I should set up a Patreon and do lost episodes. All the fuck ups. All right, let's see what else I got here. Because I'm trying to knock this out before we head on over to book club, which book club is really like a think tank. And it's Next Level University book club. It happens on Saturdays is at 11:30. You can find Next Level University on Facebook. They have a group, Next Level Nation. And yeah, throw my glasses on here, break out the laptop, see what notes I wrote. Yes. Also, if you guys are Spotify listeners, I need some love over there. You know, I don't know if I've told you guys before, but they kind of, I had a Spotify account personal, and then I had a creators account. And when they merged stuff, they jacked it up, and I damn near lost every episode of my podcast. But luckily, I had switched to Buzzsprouts prior to, and I hadn't logged into the dashboard in a while to see what's what the downloads and numbers look like. My Spotify numbers look like shit, so go give me some love on Spotify, please. Maybe I don't like them, and that's why they're so low. But it's getting it. I mean, I'm getting the downloads, so they're coming from somewhere, just not Spotify. Also, made a note here. I think a couple episodes ago, I talked about um, Jeremy Renner on Joe Rogan. Great episode. But I also listened to Jeremy Renner on Modern Wisdom, Chris Williamson's podcast. Also a great episode and different. You know, I was kind of hesitant to listen to it for a moment because I thought maybe it might just be the same thing, rehashing the same. But turned out it was actually different and good. So, yeah, not that I'm here to promote their bullshit, but great story. Kind of keeps with that theme that um, let's block out the noise and make room for what's really important, which is love, family, connections, feeling better after donuts. I don't know what that means. Ah, no, not feeling better after donuts. That was meant to say, yeah, I'm 2 weeks into doing body splits instead of for muscle groups. I was working out, doing full body workouts 3 times a week, cardio's in between days, and my body just felt destroyed. And so I thought, I'm going to switch up and do muscle groups. You know, some people call it push pull or old splits like chest, back, and try, or back and by, chest, shoulders, tries, and then leg day. And I said, let me give that a shot. One, I can do more exercises per muscle group, so I'll get more volume. And then two, I'll have more rest days in between muscle groups, and maybe I'll feel better. And I can say by the end of week 2, I definitely feel a little bit better. I don't feel as sore, 100%. And oh, and I had this thought the other day, and we'll close it out with this because book club's on the horizon in a few minutes, and but I think it's been Teachers Appreciation Week, and my wife was, you know, she makes the teachers those little baskets with snacks and drinks that are all cute, and you know, I have just never. I'm not that kind of person, but that's exactly why I love her because she is everything I am not. She thinks of all the things I don't. She's thoughtful in ways that I'm not. You know, one, maybe it's because I'm a dude, I just wouldn't think like that. To make the teachers little gift baskets. Two, even if I thought about it, I don't know that I would make the effort to do it. I remember when I was a manager, if I ever had to do like gifts and stuff for managers' Christmas parties, I would always bring it. And if it was like a bag one, I would get one of my people to do the paper stuff because, you know, I don't know how to do all that tissue paper, how to make it look all pretty or wrap gifts. I can wrap a gift, but The looking pretty tissue paper thing, not my thing. But yeah, my wife does all that kind of stuff for the teachers, and I know they appreciate it. It's We're thankful for the teachers at our school, and um, yeah, 'cause my wife was the one that make sure I had all the notes and thank you cards after the wedding and this and that the other. I mean, she's just all about that stuff. Um, and that's why I love her. And speaking of which, even though tomorrow's Mother's Day, I am taking her tonight. We are going to Texas de Brazil, a Brazilian steakhouse, and then we're going to go to a comedy show. Michael Palachek or something like that. I don't know. Never seen him. Didn't watch too much of him. Watched like maybe one clip just to see if he was funny enough and said, that's what we're doing. And they're right next door to each other. So it'll be our first time to go to both of these places in our town. We've been to steakhouses, other places, comedy shows, other places. But we've been here 10 years and never been to either of these. Now that my daughter's older and she'll stay with my mom, and the wifey and I will have a date. So, yeah, it'll be fun. And then tomorrow we'll do more family style. Um, we'll do stuff here at the house because my mom will be around and my daughter can hang out and celebrate Mother's Day. But tonight is just adults only, the wife and I, and I'm excited. But I am off to book club, and till next week, while you're out there, remember to go out and be the person that you want to meet.
Let's go.